Hey there, Daily Dosers. My name is Chandler Prazak, and I work on the Vista campus with the 11th and 12th grade high school ministry. And today what I want to share with you is found in 1 Kings 11, and it's the story of Solomon, kind of the ending of Solomon's story. And just to give you an overview of Solomon, he was this king he was after Saul, who disobeyed God, and then he was after David, who had a heart after God, but failed to walk in the footsteps of God, and he kept coming back to him through repentance. But Solomon follows after David, this king that had a heart for God. And so Solomon starts off, and he seems like he's getting things right by following David's footsteps of asking God for wisdom and saying, I don't know how to lead these people, God, so would you help me? Would you give me understanding and wisdom so that I can lead your people? And so it seems that he has a heart after God. But what we pick up on in the story is that there's little things that you see his heart is being led astray. Like before he asks for wisdom, he marries Pharaoh's daughter, which was clearly commanded not to do. And then after that, he's going to have 700 wives and 300 concubines, so 1,000 women altogether. Then he has more gold than any king is known to have, and he builds a navy just so he can go and get more gold. And so we see his heart move from loving God and being after God to then he's thankful for the things that God can give him. And so we see Solomon's heart shift. It's no longer just about loving God, it's about loving the things that God can provide for him. And this is where we find what happens to him in 1 Kings 11. It says, King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughter, Moabite women, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonites, Hittites. They were from nations from which the Lord had told Israel, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your hearts after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon had held fast in love to them. And then it says in verse 4, as Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and their hearts were not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. And something that as I was thinking about this passage, I remember when I was a little kid, I had a friend who lived down the street, and we would hang out all the time, but my brother and I would go over to his house, and what I realized is that I didn't particularly enjoy hanging out with this kid when I was younger. But it was the fact that he had an Xbox, and that was like the big thing of the day, was that we could play Halo together. And so I remember I would just come over when we would play Xbox. Like if they would ever go down to the park or play sports, I'd always be like, no, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go and be a part of that. And my brother asked me, he said, do you actually enjoy hanging out with this kid, or are you just using him for his things? And being an honest 7-year-old, I was like, no, frankly, I'm kind of just using him for his Xbox. So my brother goes to the person that we were hanging out with and said, hey, my brother just hangs out with you because you've got an Xbox. And I remember he came to me and he said, do you just hang out with me because I've got an Xbox? And I remember just being like, ow, it hurt me to have him ask me that. And I just felt embarrassed. I was like, I can't believe that this is the view you have of me, or this is the way I conducted myself, that I was just using you for your things. And to hear him ask me that and hear him say that out loud, just how much I imagine that must have hurt him. And even on the receiving end of that, I'm like, where's my heart at that's how I felt about this kid, that I didn't actually want to be around him. I just wanted him for his stuff. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, how much do I do that with God? Like, am I just walking through my life and I'm like, well, God, if you can provide me a wife and financial stability, and you can provide me success in my career, like then I'll follow you and then I'll be after you and I'll pursue your heart. And I started to realize, do I follow God because he is good and because he is worth my life and because he rescued me and saved me? Or do I just follow God because I'm like, keep giving me stuff? Have I attached God's name as a synonym for money or the things that he can provide for me? Or do I love God because he is good and because he is God and because he saved my life? And so there's this song that we sing a lot of times in church on the weekend, and it says, I don't want this world. I have everything I need in Jesus. And I just hope that this can be an encouragement to you as I got kind of leveled by this passage, understanding that, God, even if everything that you have gifted me in my life was removed, would I still be a follower of you? And would my heart not be led astray as Solomon's was? And so I hope that's an encouragement as you guys are going about your day, just that you wouldn't just be chasing after the things that God can provide for you, but that you would fall absolutely in love and chase after the God who saved your life and who's given you everything. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you for listening.